Believing in capitalism, capitalizing on your ideas, having the American dream, turning it into a reality, seeing a chance, seizing an opportunity. One network knows the difference. Fox Business. Opportunity. Pure and simple.
All right, thank you very much, Jenna. We know Alistair Darling presented his budget to Parliament this week, and among the big stack of proposals was one that contained a tax on foreign workers working here in the UK. Not very popular. It's the so-called non-domicile tax, and joining me this morning is Alison Stewart-Allen, Director of International Marketing Partners. And Alison, thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
This so-called non-dom tax, explain exactly what the controversy is.
Okay, the controversy is that there's been a loophole, according to the British government, that says that if you are working in the UK and you've been working here for at least 7 years, but you claim that your domicile or your long-term country where you're really from is not Britain and that you intend to return to this domicile, that you don't need to declare all of your worldwide income to the British tax net or the British government.
Right.
So what the Treasury is trying to do, and what they succeeded in doing, is closing this loophole supposedly and saying, well, even though you're supposedly not domiciled in Britain for tax purposes, you intend to go back to your country of origin, we're still going to now claim that some tax, and you have to pay us £30,000 if you've been here 7 years or longer.
Now, is this $60,000 every year?
Well, it's $60,000 every year, but the big concession that was granted, much to the relief of Americans living here, like myself, is that actually you get to claim that as a tax payment for the IRS.
Okay.
So it isn't just a charge that isn't admissible and counted against your American tax that might be owing. You get to put £30,000 or $60,000 as a tax credit to offset what you might owe to the American authorities.
Wow. That doesn't seem particularly business friendly to me. A lot of people live in London as a representative of companies from all over the world.
Correct.
So what does this do to these companies?
Well, one of the things it does certainly is it makes it harder maybe to persuade them to come to the UK to work. So it threatens, you know, maybe the attractiveness of the UK for international talent. And so it's very worrying, and then one of the things that is worrying is that even though Alistair Darling gave a guarantee that this new regime won't be changing in this or the next Parliament, it still has cast doubt in people's minds about whether other things will change.
Right.
Maybe they'll tinker around the edges next year.
Look, we have high living costs here. We have high taxes, you know, high rents, everything. Also a terribly weak dollar for the US companies sending their people here. Is business becoming less attractive to do here in London?
Well, it certainly is a risk, and I think it is becoming less attractive for international companies to come to the UK. And why? I appreciate it's going to raise £700 million for the British Treasury, or around 1.4 billion. But dollars, that is. But in the long run, exactly to your point, does it make the UK an attractive place to do business, and especially London, because so many financial institutions are here.
It's a major world hub.
It is a world hub, and so one of the worries of the London marketing bureaus, for example, is that we're not going to be able to attract the talent to London anymore, and people will flee. That's the big concern.
I have a question. Now, if the government is thrown out, we have national elections coming up in the near future, and another, say, the Conservative government gets in, could this all go away?
Probably not. In fact, funnily enough, this non-dom loophole closing was an idea originally of the Conservatives. So the Labour Party embraced
Liberal Democrats, perhaps?
Well, they have a very slim chance of getting in office because of their numbers. But I think it certainly is a concern for a lot of companies internationally, and we need to make sure they realize that the benefits of London and the UK far outweigh this sort of tax regime, I'm afraid.
How does this all compare to doing business in the US?
Well, one of the things about doing business in the U.S. is it's a bit more transparent, and you don't have tax code changes from year to year.
Right.
The variability of the U.K. is what's disturbing. So one benefit, I guess, of the U.S. Regime is that it's a bit more stable in terms of tax.
Very good. Alison Stewart-Allen, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it.
Thank
and
you.
stay